Moose! The moose is loose. Super fan. Where's he at? How you doing, Haley Beth? How are
I'm
you
good.
today? Yeah?
Guys, ignore that.
Ashman? You mean ignore Ashman? Why would we do that?
No.
Yeah, what's up with
Ashman,
that?
I believe she just told
Really?
me to ignore you, man.
I know, I heard.
Pretty sure she just said ignore Ashman.
Weird.
No. I
That's
said
weird.
no.
That's weird. That's just weird. All right, Haley, are you ready? Ashman is in, locked in, ready to go. Are you ready to go? Are you sure, Haley?
Yes,
Are you ready?
I'm sure.
Are you ready, Haley?
I'm sure.
All right, here we go. Get him, Haley.
Hi, welcome to the Ginn Project Show. My name is Haley Beth, owner of Haley Dot. I'm a diamond dot artist. I have a show every Friday night at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, we're going to have a new segment called the Artist Toolbox. Let's start the show again.
Thank you, Haley. Good job. Yes. Good job with the new intro, Haley. Now, somebody's got to throw her out, Laura. Somebody's got to throw her out. She fell out of the screen. She's going to fall all the way to the chat.
There we go.
That's how it works around here. Jerry, man, what is going on? Good to see you, Jerry. Got to catch a little of Jerry's live right before we came on here.
Nice.
That dude's amazing, man. I like that guy. He's all right, man. He's all right. Don't tell anybody we said that over here because they won't like him then. But we like him though. He's all good. He's all good. He was all by himself.
Oh no.
Tammy wasn't there, man.
I don't know. I bet viewership dropped off.
He was just wandering around in the damn. He was wandering around. Like I don't even know what he was doing. Unsupervised. Yes, he was unsupervised.
Unsupervised. There we go.
Kayla, welcome in. Haley, thank you for the good introduction. Good job. We switched it up on Haley. We got some new stuff happening here. Appreciate everybody coming in. As folks are filing in, we'll kind of. This is the part of the show where we say hi to everybody. Hi, everybody. And Ash kind of says hi to everybody.
Hi. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, Crimson, what is happening? So, yes, what you been up to, man? What's good? What you been doing?
I have basically gone on once in a while at night, and I was on last night. Laura showed up at the end, but Flutterby was there and Spurs was there, and so I had some folks pop in while I was doing my live, and I'm intermittent at when I'm going to do live, so turn on your notifications for me. And basically, I've been doing a weekly podcast with Eve on here on Wednesdays, 4 o'clock Pacific. I messed that up last time.
Let me write that down.
I messed up last time. I did Eastern instead. 4 o'clock Pacific. So that's 6 o'clock Eastern.
Is that still Wednesday? Because the last thing I had was Wednesday at 8. So now it's 4. Wednesday at 4 p.m., right?
4 p.m.
Okay. Okay.
6 Eastern.
I was way wrong. Way
off. No, I was wrong. Because
well, you had to check with the boss.
I did.
Sure everything was in order. Thank you, Jerry.
I did.
Appreciate you, brother. Man, I'm feeling better. Getting over, still getting over the crud you can hear, but
good.
Man, nice not to feel like hammered garbage every day. That's what I've been up to, not feeling like hammered garbage.
Oh man.
So, man, I don't know. I think it's a pretty good crew of people we got. I've enjoyed working with the Laura and Rachael and you and Kyra trying to get things organized and set up. Hey,
Oh
T.
yeah.
And man, y'all are something else, dude. Y'all are something else. All the ideas and just it's pretty awesome, I think. Like getting a group, you got a whole group of people together that come up and problem solve on stuff, try to figure things out. It's pretty cool, actually, man. I kind of dig it.
Yeah, it's nice having multiple people coming up with great solutions, and everybody's got something to add to it. So it's been fantastic to have smarter people than us hanging out.
Yes. A whole lot smarter than us. Hey, speaking of which, there's Severed right there. Hey, Rick, how you doing?
There
man?
we go.
Good to see you. What's up, Severed? Hey, T, how are you?
Hey, Severed.
Good to see everybody out there. So tonight we're going to do a new segment called the Artist Toolbox, and I'm looking forward to that too, man. I think that'll be a lot of fun. It was fun kind of figuring out some concepts for that and talking about that kind of thing. It looks like we got some other stuff coming up too that we'll be able to talk about. You got a whole ass segment. That's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that, man. You'll tell them all about that here in a little while or whatever. But I'm looking forward to that, man, because I was thinking about this, and this is deep shit here, man. But the world definitely needs more A.S.H, man. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I've
been screaming that for years.
the world 100% needs more A.S.H, man. 100%.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
So, are you doing that podcast with Eve to fulfill your contractual obligations, or is that just some fun stuff y'all came up with?
It's partly that, yeah, and partly I was told to do such a thing with Eve by Eve. So yeah, it's all her brainchild. But if you go to my link tree, you'll find the Y-Tubes link, so you can go check that out.
Ooh, we need to put that in my link tree, man. If it's not in there,
okay.
Unless the one that's in there just updates. I don't know, man. I don't know about these things. I'll have to check. We'll have to put the new link in there. Hey, Manny, what's going on? Uncle Knowing, how are you?
Hey, Uncle Knowing.
We're gonna move the camera just because it's Uncle Knowing. That's his painting right there. Uncle Knowing did that. I love that painting, man.
Nice.
That's an Uncle Knowing painting. There was an Uncle Knowing sighting at the Ginn Project Show tonight, y'all. Put the marker down. It is 9:08, y'all. When we go to look back for that clip, 9:08. Uncle Knowing arrived on the scene, and yes, he was in here a couple minutes before that. But that we're gonna re-roll the tape on that.
Yeah.
So, man, we're gonna have a new format. This is the new format. But we got a couple new things for the people that are going to be coming out. And we'll talk about that later on down the road. One of those is going to be before the guest comes on. Rachael's going to be doing a little something on a weekly basis. And that should be cool. I believe we're going to be calling that the Creative Compass. And the whole concept, I love it. I think it's going to be awesome. Then you've got A.S.H Man's Basics is going to be coming up. You're going to be doing a cool segment too. That's going to be after the guests. So we have a full-on produced ass, bringing you lots of content show now, man, and I love it. I'm stoked about it, dude.
I do too, man.
A bunch of smarter people than us helping do stuff like that. So S3E2 Artistries is in the house. This is an S3E2 Artistries original. And you can look in my link tree, or she's in the chat right now. You could click on her if you were so inclined. We got some little Matty Pace repped in the house tonight too, man. I like that guy. I'm a Matty Pace. I'm a Matty Pace fan, man. So we'll probably be repping him quite a bit. Hey, Rebecca.
He deserves it, man.
Rebecca. Yeah, man. He's always spreading a good vibe. So tonight we started a little earlier in the show than we normally would, because we're gonna have Rachael coming up doing a thing in the future, starting next week, and but so we thought we'd start out tonight basically just kind of talking about why we do the Ginn Project Show as a group, and that puts kind of you and I talking about it, but there's a group of people that put the show together. I mean, it is not just one person, like, you know,
No.
it's a team of people that collectively figure stuff out. And that's one of the reasons I love doing it, though, man. You know, there's some downsides, there's some frustrating sides to it, but man, getting to work with all you guys to come up with concepts and ideas to try, man, I love it. I love it. So for me, the first original reason for doing the Ginn Project Show was when I first got on the platform, you know, you would see there would be lives on, you'd see somebody pop up in a live and they'd show their art real quick and then they'd be gone. And you may or may not even know anything about them. You may or may not catch their name if you're me, because you're trying to, right? So, but hey, Tick Tick. Hello, goodbye, Tick Tick. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. But I don't know, man. There's this thing that was missing with that, right? And I wanted to know something about these people. So that's how it all started. The first Ginn Project Show was January 2nd, 2 years ago. And the concept was, hey, I've done some interviews in my past because of what I did. I worked as a support coordinator, supported living coach, and then I ran a training department for an agency, and then I wrote my own training program. It was accepted by the state of Florida, and that's what I implemented. That's what I was doing when I got kind of burned out and retired. So I had to interview a lot of people. And in those interviews, sometimes they would be referred to as hostile interviews, right? Because they weren't people that wanted to tell you things. If you were an abusive parent and I was interviewing you, you're probably not going to tell me that you were abusing your child, right? Like, that ain't how it works. But you may say some things that would raise some red flags in that conversation, right? With some, yo, Dirty, appreciate you, brother. So I learned, I had to interview, what I would do is I would interview everybody that would talk to me related to a client. And then I would use that information to put their training together. So if I knew that, okay, they've got some family members over on this side of town that have a tire shop, and those are really solid people, and they love the client and they look out for them and they're kind to them. So I would make sure to include them in the programming. That way it puts the client in contact with the people that were the most positive and that kind of thing. Sometimes it was that simple. Other times we were teaching them how to drive. Some of them were taking entry-level college courses to learn how to do things, or to get like some certifications for jobs and stuff like that. You might have to take some coursework about a certain air conditioners or whatever it might be, right? So at any rate, that's how the training programs were put together. So as we're looking at the landscape of artists showing their artwork, I came up with the idea, hey, I'll do an in-depth interview with them and then we'll know more about them if people would be willing to do it. And hey, Ace, and right out of the gates, it worked. And people seem to like it. And what it does, in my view, the original idea was, it's just to support the artist community by highlighting artists in a more in-depth way. It's just really that simple, right? To shine a light on some of these artists on the platform and have that information available somewhere where somebody could go look it up and be like, oh man, I like what they were doing. Let me go check it out. So that's the general starting point. That was the concept that kind of started out, right? And then from there, we quickly learned that it was kind of like a proving ground. Like, a lot of the artists that I interview haven't thought in depth about how to present their art or how to even talk about their art or talk about themselves. A lot of us are uncomfortable talking about ourselves. So in many cases, it's the first time that in a serious way, artists really thought through the entire package that they were presenting, right? Themselves, how they talk about their art, what specifically they talk about, what parts of their personal life do they tell or not tell. So we pretty quickly realized that, hey, this is a way for artists to kind of hone their skills too. So that was kind of the second portion of it that developed kind of naturally, or I guess, and the last thing I would say, and then I'm going to turn it over to Ash's thoughts on the show, is the other thing that I realized pretty quickly is this ability to learn to lend confidence, to lend credibility, right? So when I would go somewhere with a client, they're trying to learn training skills so they can get out on their own, so they're not living in an institution. They don't need me telling everybody that they're my client. So I would introduce them as my friend, right? I would always try to dress nice. I'd always wear a tie for them when we were going places together. And I would always introduce them as my friend. And that lent them confidence, and it lent them credibility in communities that they weren't necessarily normally operating in or didn't think about it that way. And that's what having people like you and Rachael and Laura and Kyra, taking them seriously, right? Give a serious look at artists and how they're presenting their stuff, and give them honest feedback if they ask. And I know you well enough. You don't give it if they don't ask. You don't you don't just offer it. But man, how valuable is that to have literally 5 people that are really good at what they do look at your stuff and go, hey, this is really good here, and over here you might be able to improve if you thought about it this way.
Trained and intelligent eyes looking at your stuff and helping you further yourself. It's amazing,
man. And that's what y'all do. From my perspective, man, that's the seat I get to ride in. I get to watch these amazing artists all come together. Oh, thank you, Southern. All come together and do exactly that, like lift up other artists.
Yeah.
So for you, man, you started out, it's been over a year, as a co-host on the show, and that was a deep dive quick, right? That was I was literally like, man, like things will change a little bit, man. I don't know if it's all good. And he was like, whatever. And then later on, you're like, yeah, actually, dude, it's like some shit happened.
Well, the same thing, when I came on here, it was January 12th, 3 years ago when I entered this platform. So just yesterday was my 3-year. And I wanted to make silly videos, speed art videos, and kind of just have fun on here. And then it became community based for me. So all of a sudden I started getting to know people and hang out with people. And then some weird dude started hanging out in some of my lives. And
sure did.
We got to know each other. We got to know each other and hang out a bit and have fun at night. And then I was asked to do Low Orbit Lounge. And then I was asked to do co-hosting duty while Chad was gone. And it was a deep dive, and it was a lot more than people think it is. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of things going on at once. And Ginn does a lot of work behind the scenes. For the first little while, I was just showing up and shaking my head like, okay, I don't know what's going on yet. And, and then it became more about understanding how it works and the support that we try and give. We really try. And that's one thing that keeps me coming back is all of you guys. I want to help as much as I can. I want to aid the Ginn Project because I believe in what it's doing. And now we have more people on here that are helping behind the scenes and coming forward to do segments and that sort of thing. So it's going to be amazing what the new changes and that sort of thing that's going on behind the scenes. And then you're going to see the changes soon, like the artist toolbox, or my silly segment at the end. Or
I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be great, dude. I think you'll be sharing some information that'll be super helpful. Yeah, and then the Creators Compass, Rachael will be doing her thing. She'll probably involve people like Laura and Kyra and other. They'll probably who knows what they'll come up with. But
she's great. She's great. She's got like all kinds of experience. So
it'll probably be the Rachael and A.S.H show here coming next year.
Nah.
Oh, I love it though, man. So yeah, the idea behind the show is to dedicate some. If I'm being truthful, full disclaimer, and you can verify this at this point. Mm-hmm. The Ginn Project Show each week, doing the show is a full day's work. Like, yes. I do the interview the day before if there's an artist interview, and that usually, the shortest one ever was like an hour and a half. They're usually like 2.5, 3 hours. I mean, it's a full in-depth conversation to make sure we understand what we're, who we're presenting, how they want to present it, and we come up with kind of a structure. Is it conversational? Is it more formal? So there's a lot of thought. Hey, Kyra, hey, Poison Ivy, there's a lot of thought that goes into trying to figure out, exactly how to present an artist, and it seems like a few hours is a long time, but that's really not. We had several 4-hour phone conference meetings just about this one show over the course of the week. Yep. There's 12 hours just in meetings to do a show to make sure we're putting out good information and accurate information. So, at any rate, it is truly an endeavor of love by everybody involved. All the people involved. Hey, Betty Jean. All the people involved are doing it because they're kind. Hey, Days. And they want everybody to improve their game. All of us. They want every artist out there to get better, if that's what they want to do. If they would like to get better, we'd like to have ways to make that happen. And now we've got it to the point where there's people that are knowledgeable about how to do your social media stuff. There's people that are knowledgeable about how to do a whole variety of things. There's people that have some legalese expertise. Ooh, look at that. That might be the start of a song. There's just people that have a lot of, like yourself, A.S.H, man. You were a galleried artist for some decades, and the gallery thing is what we're going to talk about tonight, right?
Yes.
And some good experiences and some bad experiences, but the gallery is a good example, right? I mean, how does an artist even approach a gallery if you're a new artist, right? A.S.H, man, would know a lot of ins and outs, has been through some things, has seen some things, right? So the difference in what you know about galleries and what you knew about galleries when you first started doing art is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're able to help kind of bend that curve for some people when they have some basic when they have some spitting straight bars, when they have some basic questions. There's some things that are truths, right? We might not all see the exact same thing when I say the color green. We have no way of verifying that we're all seeing the same color in our heads, nope. Right? There's no way for us to actually know. But we, through conversation, are able to determine, okay, for both of us, this is green. I see green as well. And as an artist starting out, one of the things that you hear a lot is gallery, gallery, gallery. Hey,
oh,
Eve,
yes.
what do you mean? It's Eve.
Hey, Eve.
Eve, I hear you have a show on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. A.S.H Man and Eve's podcast, Eve. Shameless plug for Eve. So, what do you think, man? Like that makes sense, right? Like have a conversation about galleries.
Galleries, yeah. Yeah, every artist is curious about it and how to get in, and some think it's the be all end all, but we're going to go into that more later on. So,
yes, we are. And I've had great experiences, and I've had obviously some pretty bad experiences. And there's some obvious reasons and the differences between some of the successes that I've seen and some of the not so successful ones that I've seen. Hey there, music. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. I guess that's tonight's show on the Artist Toolbox. Is we're going to talk about like our experiences with galleries, some of the good that has gone on, some of the bad that has happened. We're going to bring some folks up, a couple people up to talk about experiences that they've had. I believe Laura's going to come up and talk with us. Rachel's got a couple of words to say for us, and I believe Kyra might also be speaking some knowledge to us. So, what we also endeavored to do on the show, Ash, I would argue, and call me out on this if I'm not telling the truth, but I would argue that we bend over backwards to go out of our way to do things in a nice way, to do things in a kind way. Even when we have to talk about negative subjects, because that's part of life. Yes. Bad things happen in life. People have disagreements, things fall apart. Businesses don't work. Galleries are a good example. Most of them don't make it through the first year, much less several years. So there are a lot of inherent risks involved when you're talking about galleries. There's also the predatory possibilities that can happen when people run galleries, and anytime there's money involved, people can muddy the waters. So,
absolutely.
So, at any rate, I thought maybe one way that we could do this was I would kind of talk about, or you and I would kind of talk about some basics, mostly you, Ash, but like there's different types of galleries. And like what state the gallery's in has a lot of ramifications on the artist and whether or not they're protected, whether or not they get paid, things like that. So could you help just kind of lay out from your like expert position of having dealt with a lot of galleries, kind of just some basic information about, that people should know about galleries. And then we're going to bring Laura up and she's going to share some positive experiences she's had with galleries. And then we'll proceed on from there.
All right. Well, basically, when you're preparing to go to a gallery, and you'll know when you want to do that. Well, basically, you want to go to getting a great portfolio together. So your portfolio is who you are. Your portfolio puts your best foot forward. Don't put a bad piece in. If you don't like it, don't put it in, because it's you, right? So you don't want to show you as your worst piece. And so you can have a portfolio, you can have a digital portfolio, you can have a website to direct them to. And also look for what the gallery wants you to show. Like, what is a gallery's wants and needs? If you go to an abstract gallery or a modern art gallery and you're doing portraiture that doesn't fit within that, that's not the gallery for you. If you're doing romanticism or something like that, and it's a modern gallery, then it's not a good fit. So look what the gallery wants and needs. And you can find that on their websites or go in, see the galleries, go to art shows, mingle. You never know who you're going to meet. An artist you meet at the gallery might actually know a good gallery for you. So you never know who you're going to run into. And also, co-ops are one way to go, and that's where a bunch of artists collaborate together. They all pitch in maybe once a week or something like that. They all get percentages, that sort of thing. So,
We're going
there's
to
the
talk about
co-ops.
that's what I
Yeah.
had some experience with. We're going to talk a
Yeah,
little bit about that.
absolutely. And then you got coffee shops and that sort of thing, which is where I started out. And that's what you do. You build up. And oh man, get a good bio, a good CV. If you don't know what a CV is, Google it because they'll want to see something like that. And if you don't have any experience yet, don't worry, you'll get some. And as long as you keep being persistent and you want to go out and further yourself, you'll do that.
I love it, man. All really good advice. Just some basic stuff, right? Kind of have an idea of the type of art that gallery is looking for and see whether you're a fit or not. I would also say some galleries do not want you to come in and solicit them. So make sure, don't go in the gallery and go, hey, I'm looking to get my stuff in here. They hear that all the time. So
yeah,
that's part of looking into the gallery, is also figuring out how best to. That's part of your portfolio, right? Or your CV.
your CV.
That's part of putting that together. That is part of the information that you consider when you're putting it together specifically for a particular place. Is how do they want it presented? Do they want it digitally? Do they want paper copies? Do they want, all of that matters. If you're a person who has to go through a whole bunch of information or have to decide from a whole bunch of different people who gets that one spot, I can tell you, just as an example, the people that make it easier are the ones that often get chosen, because if you got to deal with a whole bunch of different people, you'd rather deal with people who are paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing at your particular spot. So it kind of makes sense. If you just think about it in the big picture, just kind of what are they looking for? What kind of approaches do they like? Because let's say that a gallery owner is a really kind of introverted type of person. Well, going up and shaking their hand and blurting out your 15-second elevator speech might not be the way to go in that particular instance. Anyway.
I might add about portfolios. Take great pictures. Make sure they look good. And your phone is good enough. Make sure there's no glare. Make sure the angle is flat so that you don't have some weird positional thing going on. Distortion. Yeah. But really take your time on your portfolio.
It's important. It's the foot that you're putting forward, for sure. Yeah. If we could, now Laura usually sends Laura up, but I want to make sure I send the right Laura up. Laura, would you please raise the hand of the Laura that we're bringing up to give her experience on I just want to make sure. Oh, there we go. I just want to make sure we get the right one. So, I would argue that the person that we're going to start out talking with here, Laura, this makes so much sense. Hi, Laura. Can we hear you?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. It's great to see you. You look wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
This is a great person to have on at this point in the conversation, in my opinion, because Laura does her homework. She does her due diligence. She is that's for those that don't know, Laura, pretty much her and Rachael run the Ginn Project stuff behind the scenes, and Kyra too. But on the day-to-day operations, all of the moving parts, Laura is handles that. So it would make sense that her experiences to a large degree with galleries have been positive because she does her homework, and that matters. So we are gonna expand. Hopefully, we pushed the button and it did the thing. So thanks again, Laura, for joining us. It's really kind of you to take your time. It's really kind of you to take your time to help us out as much as you do. I really don't think people understand how important you are to the whole thing. So thank you. You've been a mod for us for a long time. Almost all of the people that we work together with, you mod for or help out. I don't know. I don't think you sleep. Probably don't eat. So thank you personally for being my friend, and thank you also for being fulfilling the many roles that you fill over here at the Ginn Project. Really appreciate you, Laura. So thank you for sharing your experience with galleries. And unless Ash had some greeting words for you as well that we made you sit through, because it's so uncomfortable for you to sit there while we compliment you. I'm sorry to make you uncomfortable. I can feel how uncomfortable you are, and I'm so sorry.
Well, we have a great nickname for HR because she handles a lot of that stuff for us, and she mods for me as well. And she popped up in my live early this morning, and I was like surprised because somebody was supposed to be getting some sleep.
I did get some sleep.
You got some sleep, okay?
Up, and there was
and then you woke up. Okay.
She slept for 30 minutes and ate a blueberry.
And then he was still on.
But she's amazing. She gets things done, and she's a very, very intelligent person. So it's an honor to be able to work with somebody like Laura.
Absolutely, 100%.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to help in any way I can. So I've been shown in galleries for about 10 or 12 years now. Usually, the types of galleries that I do are more of the community-led nonprofit galleries. So a lot of them are through arts councils. And so one of the benefits of doing it that way is the proceeds, instead of it going to a person or, a group of people, it goes and gets built back into the community. So you'll see them doing programming like free classes at the library, or arts activities for kids, or like cultural kind of displays and that type of thing. So that's one advantage for that, is it's giving back to your local community. And as an artist, they give you resources like putting you in the artist directory or being on the newsletters, so you hear about the local opportunities around you. Different collaborative opportunities, things like that. So that's kind of why I go towards them a lot of times. They're more local. My art is very based in local scenes, so it seems like a good fit for most of the time. So that's what most of the ones I do. I also had, I would say, one of my favorite galleries was this gallery in New York that was it was based around, everything in there was either on the theme of nature or it was made from natural materials. And I loved that gallery because my art fit so well in it. And that particular gallery owner just championed my art and was a huge fan and was always excited about what I was working on and that kind of thing. And that really does make a difference when the person that is supposed to be there and advocating for your work is there and really cheering you on. So that's my favorite one. Unfortunately, it was one of those galleries that ended up closing. But even though it closed, it was a really good experience. They were really good about keeping in touch and keeping us informed. Originally, they were going to move to another location, and then that didn't end up happening. So they kept us informed during the process, and got us our artwork back when it was time, and did payments and all that stuff that you have to worry about for those kind of situations.
Yeah.
So overall, it was a really positive experience. So yeah, that's my favorite gallery, as far as like a standalone gallery that wasn't part of the arts councils. And so I've been really lucky as far as the hard work that I put in with networking and putting my art out there and being visible and that kind of thing has really made a difference and really given me a lot of opportunities and has grown me as an artist and a person.
How did you said it's the local arts council, if I understood correctly, right? How did you make contact with them originally? When you were brand new and you were thinking this through, how did you reach out to them and come to think, oh, well, maybe this is the avenue I should take?
Yeah, so the first one that I reached out to, I actually went to a concert. My brother does music, and so he's part of the Arts Council on the music side and does concerts and stuff. And so I went to one of his concerts in a park, and they had a little booth about the Arts Council. So I went over there, and I was just getting back to the area, and I was like, well, let me check it out and see what it is. And so I ended up getting involved there and doing a couple shows.
Right on.
Yeah.
So a lot of places have local art councils that you can. Are those tied together nationally?
I don't think they specifically are. I think they do have like their federal funding and their state funding and whatever ties them together in some aspect, but they're all a little bit different and they all have different benefits. Usually there's some sort of membership fee type thing, and then that gives you access
like
to
dues,
gallery shows and
like
other
dues,
resources
like...
and different things that go on there.
Right on. So that sounds like a great starting point then for artists that are trying to figure out where to do and what to do. See if there's a local arts council. There's something near where I'm at called the Highlands Craft Guild. And there's some really, really amazing artists in that guild. One of which was in the place that we did put together that I'm going to talk about in a little while. But the thing about that when he was talking to me about that particular organization, he liked it because it was juried, right? You had to basically apply to get in, and people who are already in vote basically on who the new artists that they bring in. And it sets a high standard, but for him, the way he described it to me was that it made him try harder. It made him, like, he knew that the piece that he gave them was going to go through their hands and they were going to look as critically as they possibly could at it and give him the feedback. Now, he could either take that personally and be offended and be mad, or he could make the corrections they suggested and get it right, which is what he chose to do. And he's been an artist with that guild for years now. So it's another example of honing.
It really does make a difference, being able to connect in your local community. I'm sure everyone knows here by being in contact with other artists online, that makes a huge difference too. But a lot of my opportunities have come from other artists who happen to see something and they're like, hey, this would be a good fit for you. And, both ways, where if I see something that I know is a good fit for someone else, I'll shoot them a message to say, hey, I saw this and thought of you. And it's really nice to have that contact. And like Ash was saying about going and visiting the galleries, if they have opening events or they have different things. Around here, they have First Friday events, and all the galleries will have a nice little opening thing and have snacks, and you can walk along the streets and see the different art, and you get to know the people that are interested in art too, and make friends that way, and connections. So it's a good way to go about it.
Yeah. First Fridays are amazing. And we used to do that downtown. That's where I got my start, was I would do First Fridays, and we do art walks, and I got to meet other artists, and then I got into a co-op because of it. And I sold pieces just because people liked my stuff and they saw what I had in my portfolio when I was walking around, and then the paintings would sell before I even got home. So art walks are interesting.
Yeah, and they take some pressure off because, you know, you can get a group of your friends or a couple people to go with you and just go and have fun with it and not necessarily, you know, not necessarily have your portfolio with you and be like, you know, I'm here to show my art. It's just...
I'm an eager beaver. I just took my stuff there.
I'm less bold, but yeah.
I'm less bold, she says. They do an art walk here in the summertime. It's every like one Friday a month, you know, on like the first or last Friday, whatever it is. And even the shops on Main Street stay open later, you know, and do the after hours kind of thing. And it's cool, you know, artists will be featured or on display or just another way that the community kind of supports, you know, art.
I'm seeing a couple of questions. So how do you find out about these things? Sometimes if there's a local paper, sometimes they have them in the paper, Facebook groups.
You need a Laura. That's how you find out.
You can ask me and I can do a Google search. But yeah, those are a couple ways that...
You just nailed it, a Google search in your local arts community, and you'll find all kinds of stuff. I think Google is underused. It's kind of interesting
with the local stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have the New Times out here where they post a lot of stuff like that. So
then the other question I saw was, how do you do it if you have anxiety? And that's a very valid question. And that's
100%.
definitely something that I've had to work through and continue to work through. So I guess my advice for that would be just do a little bit at a time. And, you know, you need to push yourself outside of your comfort zone, but not in a way that it shuts you down. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know, the anxiety thing it's a tricky game, right? Because Ash will tell you this. I used to get I literally wanted to vomit before shows. I was so anxious I wanted to get it right. I didn't want to mess up somebody's opportunity, right? They come on, we're doing an interview with them, and I say something goofy and mess their interview up. So I still get really anxious for the interview portions of things because we want it to go right. But you can focus anxiety as well. Just keeping in mind that it's a good thing. It's meant to make you proceed cautiously, right? It's just kind of overrunning things sometimes. So finding consistency in your work is a good way. Ash mentioned earlier, don't put something in your portfolio that you don't love. If you don't really love how it represents you, don't put it in your portfolio. Trust that gut instinct. Now, there's a fine line because some artists would say, I don't like anything I do, and you can't do that, right? You got to have a critical. Yeah. That's the other part of it. You have to develop your own critical thinking skills on your particular skill set. Nobody should know your skill set better than you, right? People can add to it, help with it, and all that, but you really need to know what your foundation is. So I would argue that Laura has it dialed in. She keeps herself organized and all the people around her organized. She's another one of those people that we're all better because she's around. Like literally, she literally just makes the people around her better. That's I don't know if that's a job title, but that's what she does. I just wander around and make the people around me better with a lot of hard work in that wandering. I guess you would say.
Thank you. That
Laura?
means a lot.
Ash, do you have anything? Would you like to insult Laura before we send her out of here?
I would never insult Laura.
I'm not going to insult Laura.
All I'd say on anxiety, though, is that it's a fight or flight situation in your body going crazy. Wait until you calm down, center yourself, and you'll find that moment to go in. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. you'll know when you can. That's all I could say about anxiety.
Yeah. And you don't have to do it perfect the first time. I mean,
no, you won't.
You're not going to. So
Right.
You have the experience, you learn from it, and
Flightless
then
bird.
You move on to whatever's next.
Yes,
100%. I would add to that. Reach out to these guys. Reach out. Send something. To the Ginn Project official or hr.ginnprojectofficial at that mail place with the G, and in the little message, say, hey, I'd like to talk to Laura. I'd like to talk to A.S.H. I'd like to talk to whoever. Sometimes that helps. I literally will call A.S.H. or Laura or somebody with an idea or a thought and say, hey, I just want to run this by you. Let me know if what you think. And it's that simple. And it is one of the most valuable things I have in my life, is the fact that I can reach out to people that know something more than I do and say, hey, what do you think about this? It's incredible. So, Laura, thank you for coming up and sharing your experiences with us. And thanks again for all the hard work you put in. You don't get nearly enough credit. The modding and the organizing and the making sure we hit our marks and get where we're supposed to be and do what we're supposed to do and stand up and eat and all of that.
That's what I was going to say. Telling me to stand up and save my back more than once.
Yes.
I'm happy to help. I'll be down in the comments.
She lets herself out. I'll be down in the comments. So so that's an overall big picture piece of advice that I would give, right? Is look at comprehensively, look in totality. A lot of artists, yes, great job, Laura. A lot of artists really focus on the art side, but they don't hardly put any energy at all onto that other side. Actually, you've got to present yourself and your art. You are the salesperson for your art. And that's the hard part, because it's a different part of the brain, right? It's a different part of our ethos or who we are. Some of us, that gets into some real uncomfortable territory over there. Hey, Mondo, how you doing, buddy? So we were talking, you mentioned the co-op, and I'm going to get a sip here so that hopefully my voice will stay with us. But I'm gonna describe to you, if it's okay, a co-op that I was a part of helping put together here locally where I live. And it was all quite accidental. But I think it goes to the heart of another thing that we try to do here, which is explore opportunities for artists to have new ways for artists to have their stuff in venues, right? I personally looked around at some galleries. Now, this has been years ago. They may not even, but this is 15 years ago, right? I'm making furniture and I'm looking around for galleries to put my stuff in. And when I talked to them, I did not like what they had to say, to be honest with you. So, I didn't actually put my stuff in a gallery, but I had some friends that own an antique store. And he's the person that taught me how to restore hand tools and antiques and to use old school hand tools and stuff. Rick and Charlene at Antique Antics in Waynesville. Well, so behind the antique store is an entire house, right? They have another house that they live in. This is a shop, a store, and every room is full of antiques. And he specializes in tools. And out behind the antique store, what up, Chipster? Out behind the antique store was this stone building. Now, this house was built in the early 1920s, in that 1920s-ish time frame. And this little stone building was a garage for a Model A Ford. So that gives you an idea of the size. It was just big enough to pull a Model A in and open the doors. Whatever size that was back in the day. And they knew that because the owners of the house told them that because they had been around a minute. So him and I were standing out there one day and we were having a discussion about venues for people to put their work. And I'm looking at this stone building and I say, hey man, what's the story behind that? Because what they used it for was all of the like leftover stuff from their shop that nobody wanted. It was like the bargain bin. So I say, well, what if we turn that into like a little gallery? And he goes, hey, I like that idea. Why don't we put a shop on top of it? It's like, okay. So we were taking down a house and I was taking down a barn at the time. And he had a big maple tree that had to come down there. We milled that up and some oak. We milled that up. And out at a house in Maggie Valley, I took some oak flooring out of the house, reclaimed it, and that became the floor of the gallery. Stone walls. We turned the roof upside down and then built a like Depression era woodworking shop on top of it. And the idea was we kept getting approached, thank you, Chip, to do lessons, you know, how to use a draw knife, how to use a plane, how to use a shave, how to use a rasp, stuff like that. So we were going to do some programming there. Some of the, you know, I was going to write some training programming revolving around woodworking. And that's where we were going to do some of the classes and stuff. And Rick and I both were going to do like antique restoration classes. And there were local organizations that would come film us and stuff when we were working, you know, to use it for their B copy or whatever. So at any rate, we did that. We took down the house and we used the shiplap as the inside of the shop upstairs. We used the beadboard as the outside of the shop. I used a bunch of hickory that I'd milled and oak and made the steps. So it was all like made from scratch. And we called it the Maker's Hand Gallery. And I reached out to several local artists that I knew. One was an electrician who did wire art, who was in the Highlands Craft Guild. He was that good at it. It's amazing. He did these trees that he made, these wrapped trees. And he'd do them coming out of knots and cool stuff. And there was also an artist did plasma cutting and cut these really cool scenes out of like saw blades and, you know, stuff like that. And then there was a couple painters. There was a fiber artist there and several others. And so I reached out to them and said, hey, we're going to have this little space. If you'd like to put your art in here, you know, let us know. And I'll tell you, the way it worked out was I helped build the building. So my cut was 10%. If I sold anything in that building, the antique store took 10% for administrative, you know, for covering all the legals and all of the contract stuff and all of that. And the people who just dropped art off that couldn't help or donate time or whatever, it was 25%. So still half of what the other galleries were charging. And then the people that could come by maybe once a month and dust or sweep up or help out in whatever way, they were at 15%. Because the antique store dealt in so many different things, they already sold art. That was one of the things that they'd sold. So they had all of the infrastructure to be able to do that, that protected the artist and protected them and all of that because of what they did as a profession anyway. And so it worked out great. And art sold once a month. People would get a check and minus whatever percentage their cut was. And at the end of the year, you would get a tax 1099 or whatever the hell it is. I think it's 1099. You would get your tax form and easy peasy. Hey, Kim, how you doing? So up and running. We got people signing up that want lessons. We got, you know, and they have an event a couple times a year that brings artists in, and they all set up and do like a little festival at the antique store each spring and then a fall event. So we would do those events. We would set up. We would, you know, be out there with a shaving horse. I have a buddy named Jaen. Jaen is Navajo, and he makes flutes, handmade flutes. He would be out there making flutes, just kind of everybody doing their thing. And when COVID hit, we had to wind it down. People couldn't get out and mingle the way they were. And the way that worked, here's how complicated it was, folks. Here's how difficult it was. We had to wind it down that month. People came and picked up their stuff if they needed to, because the place was going to be closed for a little while. And everybody got their check for that month. Full stop. That's it. That's how complicated it was. If your art had sold, your check was ready for you. And if your art hadn't sold, it was still here for you to pick up. So it was a local thing. There was no shipping. There was none of that. But it worked great. And those percentages worked. Those percentages worked just fine. And it saved the artists a lot. Even the artists that were just dropping off stuff were making 75% of what they were asking. And that 25% went to like keep the lights on, help the antique store keep operating, pay for their insurance, pay for, just pay for the day-to-day operations, which made it possible. So the other place that was really good at selling art around here was a coffee shop, a local coffee shop down by the creek. It's a nice place to sit and chill. There's a little meandering creek. We're up in the mountains that runs next to it. People love to sit there and get a cup of joe, and the wall is absolutely covered in artwork, for sale, available. So, part of what hopefully you see at the Ginn Project is we're always trying to look for creative ways for artists to sell their artwork. We're always trying to get behind ideas that may make that happen, understanding, of course, that more than half of them are not going to work out.
True.
And that to me sounds like what I later learned. I literally did not know. We just put that together because we thought it would be cool. I met y'all later. I did not know that what we put together was actually called a co-op. We just happened to do it at an antique store. Puzzle piece. We are not entertaining them, Ash, man. The puzzle piece is on us.
Hey, you that 25% is great compared to what a gallery will do for you.
Yes.
So 25% is like, really? I'd show there all day long.
Yes, we got it down to 25%, but it was because the place already existed, and I donated all of the building materials and the labor. So the building that we built, I literally provided all the materials, and Rick and I built it ourselves.
Nice.
And Rick obviously provided materials because he provided the land and the original building and the facilities and all of that, obviously, him and Shar. So, hey, Monique. So it was a great experience, man. And COVID hit, and by the time everybody was able to get up and running, I had met you guys, and we were on doing other things and working on other stuff. So I still sell stuff there. There's still the venue there. There's still that gallery there. I'm just not up there doing lessons and stuff. I'm here doing these kind of things. So, yeah, man, that was my first experience with a gallery, and I didn't know that it was a gallery. We called it the Maker's Hand Gallery, but that was just like, that's because that's what the term the artists were saying. We're like, hey, we're going to put this building together, and like, oh, a gallery, cool. So we named it Gallery, but I had not, at the time, I didn't know there were different types of gallery. I literally didn't know that at the time. If Rachel's in here, could we please send Rachael up? One of the cool things about that, though, one of the cool experiences for me about that was getting to see artists have their stuff in what they called a gallery for the first time. And there was a few people that applied to. So getting to see them put their stuff in the gallery, and then getting to see their items sold, man, it's so exciting for them. Like, it really, like, I would get so stoked at this person, because they're grinding, man. They're working, they're trying to figure it out. Yeah. And this is a small town, man. I'm up in the mountains. It ain't like there's a whole bunch of people roaming through, right? You got a small target audience. And man, when they would sell a piece of art there, it was just, man, it was cool. It was a great feeling.
Oh yeah.
Rachael, can you hear us?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. How are you doing today?
You know, I'm off camera right now because I need the lights a little lower.
We got you. We got you.
So it's one of those days, but yeah, I'm doing good. How about you guys?
We are thrilled to have you.
Glad.
We wanted you to come up and talk to us a little bit because you have kind of a unique, well, not a, it is unique, but then again, there's a common theme to it, if that makes sense. Your story is unique, but artists out there, you can see the same thing happening, right? So you're going to talk to us about your first album experience. You're a musician. So, you know, where I was just talking about selling your first art, well, as a musician, that could come in the context of an album, which really complicates things because you got bands and you got agents and like engineers and producers, and I don't know what all they got going on over there, man. I don't know. I know they don't have a Laura and a Rachael, though. I know that.
I think they got a lot of hands out. That's what they.
That is true.
What's in it for me? Yeah.
For those that don't know, Rachael is another person that does a whole hell of a lot of heavy lifting over here at the Ginn Project behind the scenes. She's the one that put together the Ginn Project official and all of that, and is handling the social media stuff and all the merch stuff and a whole bunch of strategic planning. And I think Ninja is in the title, Ninja Overlord, bringer of something.
Ninja
I'm not
Overlord.
Sure. Tick tick. But you have the experience of putting out an album, and some of that is good and some of that is bad. So please share that with us if you don't mind. And if you would like to stay under the current settings and everything, I'm totally cool with that. If you want us to put you in a big box and all that, we can do that too. Whatever you would like.
I could stay in this box. I'm good.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it was quite an experience for me, especially when you're a creative and you're new to trying to say, hey, like maybe I'm gonna try and go for this, you know? And I knew nothing, like absolutely nothing. So people would often give me a lot of advice and, you know, say things that I needed to do. And that's when, unfortunately for me, I did get taken advantage of a few times, financially, and then also by, you know, contributing to other things. When it was making the album, though, that taught me a lot of lessons. And I had to learn quickly that, you know, you'll hear the phrase a lot, it's just business. And I didn't really understand what that phrase, you know, meant. And I was like, well, okay, I get that it's just business, so I need to be professional. I need to, you know, have a thick skull, right, or whatever, you know, not get too upset about things. If someone doesn't like your music, they don't like your music or your art. You know, it's not for everybody, which I'm sure you guys know that too. And that's fine with me now. Like I'm cool with it, but you know, sometimes, and this is where I've learned to always be cautious now, but, you know, we went on a little hiatus, after exactly a year after the first album came out. Making the album was an amazing process. For me, it was very cathartic. It was very healing. And, I, at the same time, was also doing, you know, composing and producing on my own for sync licensing, which if you don't know what that is, that's it's synchronizing music underneath any visual art. So it could be like video games or the songs that they play on movie trailers, things like that. Yeah, so I did, and I had a song last year that was playing on General Hospital, which was really exciting.
Yo!
What's up, Moose?
Yo, that's awesome. General Hospital. Your stories.
Right? I used to watch it when I was a kid.
Some of y'all watch your stories. I know. I won't tell on y'all, but I know some of y'all watch your stories.
You know, personally, me though, growing up, I was a Days of Our Lives person. So, no, I'm just kidding. I mean, because my mom, but you know, no. So, you know, learning that part. I'm actually I am thankful for it was a very big uphill battle for me, and I am grateful for it because I had to learn on the fly, and it showed me that if you really are passionate about your art, the things that you create, and you want to share it with other people, you are sharing a huge piece of your heart. And it's you're becoming vulnerable just in doing that, which is a big step for people. And it's so, to me, it was so emotionally overwhelming because my first album that I was writing was a lot about my story of, you know, some trauma that I went through, falling into addiction and then coming out of it. And I was like, whoa, like, this is actually, I almost pulled my first song the day of release. We had this single, Cut Me to the Quick, release way before the album came out. And I was like, nope, I'm gonna cancel it. I'm gonna cancel it. But I was like, no, you got to do this because I think that through art in any form, in all forms, it speaks louder than words ever could. So that music, you know, is, to me, it's something to where it's a universal language. You know, you don't have to know the words that are being sung. You just, you know, everyone knows if something's a good song and you hear it, you know, what do we all do? We nod our heads along and, you know, put a smile on our face, or, you know, and that's one thing that I love about it is it's storytelling through music and words. And then, you know, then comes along with that, I had to learn, okay, well, yes, could I design cover art? Sure. But, you know, I had hired Moose, actually. That was the one after we were trying to put out an EP called The Fragmented Dream Sessions. We released 2 of those songs last year. And so that artwork was done by Moose, and it's great. I absolutely love it. So, but yeah, for me, I did lose quite a bit of money spending on marketing and got a lot of big promises. And I think that it's easy to say, okay. I mean, they put the caveat in there of, well, you've got to work hard. And if you don't do the hard work, then it's not going to work. So we can't promise you anything. And I was like, well, yeah. It's Velena. Oh, I don't know if you're going to put that, Jerry D. As if you're going to know how to spell that. I just forget my username is not that anymore.
It is. Can I say this? It is. Look, we got the experience of when the album came out. I'm doing late nights. We'd have it playing. We'd play it on the show while we were working. Rachael would come through and hang out every once in a while and visit with us. And it is a great album. I got, like, I get excited too when I hear some new music or a new band or a new sound or whatever, and Rachael is that. The album is really good. It's charted globally. Like, I mean, there's like she she is very understated in all of this. Is all I'm saying. It is a great album.
I don't like that.
And she, look, I'm gonna give a little anecdote here, if it's okay. But someone reached out to me about Rachael being on the show, and I was like, sure, yeah, I love what she does. We'll have her on, and she came on, and but she was the only one that showed up from her band.
Yep.
And it was a good thing because you can see that interview. It's over there. It's in the archives over there. But she did everything. She did the merch, she did the marketing, she did the setup, like literally drug instruments and stuff around. She did all of it. And you can tell, right? It's really good stuff. But she kind of had to make it all work. Even after this, what she was talking about, the story, the things that didn't go well, she still managed to get an entire album made, couple songs from an EP, and did a lot of the heavy lifting on all of it, while at the same time being treated, I would argue, unfairly. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that would be fair to say. I believe, and you know, it was very challenging at the time, and of course, you get hurt or angry when someone takes, you've worked so hard on something, and then when it's the moment to get ready to promote it and to release it, or however that may look for any creative, I asked questions, and they said, well, ChatGPT is your best friend. I was like, what? So I had to figure it out and study. I didn't know. I had no idea what an EPK was, but I had to send it. And I was like, what does that mean? So I was like, EPK, right. Searching on Google, and like, okay, so it's an electronic press kit, right? You send it to like radio stations or any media outlet. And I tried to get that's how I learned how to run PR campaigns. And there's certain things that they look for, industry standard kind of stuff. And I learned as I went. And, I am going to say this. I am proud that I pushed through, and I was like, no, I'm not taking no anymore for an answer, because all I've gotten my whole life is, you can't do this. You're not good enough. Your voice doesn't fit. You can't do this. And so I changed my mindset from, oh yeah, you're probably right, to, you know what, watch me. So I've gotten to that point where it actually grew me in a way, so I could prove to myself, not to other people, but to myself, that no matter what gets thrown at you, because let's just talk about it, like being in any kind of industry where you are selling your art and things like that, you're always going to have people in your ear telling you, no, you can't do this. You have to do it this way. You have to do it that way. Or, you have to pay this much and let's do it. And things just didn't feel right to me. And I said, I want to do this the right and ethical way. And like I'm always wanting to help others kind of navigate this stuff so that they don't have to fall into these sort of pitfalls too now, because the amount of money that I had put in for marketing and things like that was quite a bit. And I did lose most of it. But somehow I still handled to go ahead and promote us enough. Like even a cover song of ours still charted last year, which was so crazy. That was the craziest thing. Is that this band that just comes out of nowhere. I was originally just going to do instrumentals, and then it developed into a community, and it was amazing at the time. It was so great. That's why I've got a squirrel squad, but it was an awesome time for me. And I love to I just love creating in any way, shape, or form. So that kind of taught me, okay, so you can't really, you have to be careful who you allow in your circle and who you choose to collaborate with. So you can, and I hate saying that, but so you can protect, your art. Because to me, my art is it's in the lyrics. That's the biggest thing for me. Yes, I also sing, and I have to think about how I deliver it, but it's in, it's been in the writing for me. And most people don't care about lyrics and stuff, but that's my storytelling part, and how, anyways, and we did get this really neat opportunity. It's, I'm brand new, we get invited to go and perform, and it was crazy. and I was very excited about the experience, and things went well, and I was really, really on board. And I'm not just like I'll just kind of give a little bit and see. No, I'm like either all in or nothing, and I, I'm always trying to help any way that I can. I see things maybe a little bit differently than some people, but sometimes it's like, okay, I don't need to always give my opinion.
That's the great thing, though. That's a great point, is having differing opinions from different perspectives is super helpful.
Yeah, I think honestly that's the best way for us to grow, because sometimes we don't think of things or look at things in that way, and that's what I've been grateful for through collaboration. It is other people teaching me, okay, maybe slow down, maybe think things through, be a little wiser. But yeah, overall, it's taught me a lot. And just for anyone out there, if you want to put music out, if you want to put your art out there, like, what are you waiting for? I think you should just do it. Because I'd rather go through the hard times and learn the lessons and walk away with no regrets at the end of my life. So yeah.
Exactly.
Ash, what do you think, man?
Pretty basic, right?
No. I think your last point is to the heart of it. You have to take the chance. You have to put yourself out there. You have to, if you want the dream. And the dream isn't money. It isn't fame. It's somebody connecting to your art, whether it's music or artwork or writing, whatever it is. Somebody. You connect with somebody and you have that moment.
Yes. And it makes it worth everything. I've been caught off guard so many times because someone will send me a message about a song of mine that they heard, and they said, I felt that so deeply, like it was like you wrote something from my mind, and that's how I felt about music my whole life. Music is something that saved me as a teenager, because I felt like they were writing and singing about me, which I know, but it is something that, but yeah, that's a good point you made there.
That connection is certainly worth it. Well, Rachael, thank you so much. I know you're not feeling 100% tonight, so thank you for taking the time to come on and share your experiences with us. And thank you so much for all that you do here, with the merch and with the social media stuff and with the putting the show together and the guitars and all of it. I mean, it's just a lot that you do. I don't know how you do it all, but
a lot.
We are damn lucky to have you over here doing it with us. So thank you so much. We appreciate you.
No, y'all are awesome.
That didn't sound right, and I know I'm gonna take heat for that. That did not sound. That's not what I'm. Yeah. Anyway.
No, you guys are great. I love getting to know all of you guys so much. It's been awesome and working with everybody. So yeah, I love what you guys do here.
What we do here. Thank you, Rachael. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is. So I think it's Laura has to throw Rachael. She has the unkind job of having to throw Rachael out. But Rachael, thank you so much, and that's a good example of turning kind of a negative into a positive still. I mean, like she, knowing the backstory, she put a lot of hard work into that music that she created. And then now it's associated too with a lot of heartbreak. Like galleries or like new businesses, a lot of them don't make it. And bands often, everybody isn't giving the same amount. That's one of the things that you run into in situations like that. Rachael is 100% all out. She's going to give you what she's got. And I can't imagine all of the other people were performing at that level, as far as, you know what I mean? Otherwise, she wouldn't have needed to do all the things she did. So, and once you get far enough in that profession, you got whole teams of people that do that stuff. And you don't have to worry about it. You just go make music. So 30 bands. Yes, tick. There you go. He's been in 30 bands. It's not an equal effort. I get it, man. That's folks that I get to work with, because they all bring their best to the table, whatever that is. They always bring their best to the table. It's like it's in their ethics. It's a thing. Ash, so you and I, we have had in this past year some very different experiences with galleries.
Yes.
So one experience that we have in common, among others, is our good friend Samantha, the Starving Artist. Had done some gallery shows at a gallery, and she did a few shows that were multiple artists, and it was like a win or lose event kind of thing, and she won. She kept winning them. And after she won 3 of them, they offered her own show, which she had, I think, 30 pieces in that show. And we all flew in down there, and the gallery itself was fine. There were some things that they probably could have done a better job on to support S.A., if I was being frank about it. Some of the stuff they were setting up the day of the event that we knew was going to be happening for weeks. But one of the things that I love about that as an example is the way that the community rallied to her. And I got to meet you in person. I got to meet Eve and Lenny, and I'd met Chad, but I got to see Chad again, and S.A. again. So for me, maybe I'll turn it over to you at that point. For me, that was one of the really cool things. Her event was amazing. I would give her a lot of credit for why her event was so good, because she put so much, because kind of like we were just talking about Rachael putting a lot of work into that album, S.A. put a lot of work into her show.
Isn't it interesting? We know all the heavy lifters. All the people who do all the heavy lifting seem to all get together and hang out.
Some broad shoulders there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Not bad, buddy. No, I was just going to say that that collective positive experience was a lot of fun, though, man. And I was just going to say, maybe you could kind of give, as someone who's a galleried artist, as someone who has done events like that from the inside, kind of just maybe share some of your perspective on. My thing was, I got to meet all of y'all, and I did some interviews, and that was really great, getting to interview some of her family at her event, and to be able to be a part of her event. Ezra had stepped in and TikTok, and they bumped up the boosts for all of the lives. Severed did a run-up show, her second run-up show to an S.A. event. So from my perspective, all of the planning and all of that, getting to work with everybody to put all of that together, just to be some small part of what S.A. was doing, was wonderful. For my, by the way, this is an S.A. shirt.
Yeah, so going there and hanging out and seeing her art live was fantastic, because it doesn't do justice. And everybody who goes to galleries knows when they see the artwork, it's so much better in person than it is on the web or anything like that. Yes. And she had a 3D piece. She had a 3D piece that I'm still thinking about. That last piece on that last wall. It just, as you move, it moved. And it was a fantastic piece. And as much as I tried to capture it when I was doing a video of it, you still can't. It was such an amazing piece. And she took care of people as they came in. She had goodie bags for us because she knew what we were doing. We're flying in to support her, but she didn't need to do all that, but she still did. And she did what a lot of galleries should be doing, which is promotions and stuff like that. And that should be on the gallery's back.
We did a lot of the promotion. I would argue that a lot of the promotion that happened for it, we did, like artists. We as a community.
Oh, yeah. As a community,
TikTok,
we did.
There were a lot of people that showed up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it was a group effort, and like I said, the gallery should do more, but they don't. I remember days when I would go into galleries, I would patch the walls, I'd paint the walls, I'd hang the artwork, I'd send out the press notice to the newspaper and the television stations, that sort of thing, and hang all the artwork, make all the plates. I used to do all that until I realized the gallery should be doing that crap. And they take advantage of us because we're eager to show. We want to show our artwork. We want to do all that stuff. And that's what happens to artists. But the fact that I got to meet you guys was amazing. The fact that I actually got to physically be in the same space as people that I've been talking to for over, I've known you for about a year and a half, by just hanging out and stuff, and getting to be in the same physical space and talk to each other, and it was just phenomenal to actually
got to hug Eve.
Yeah.
I got to give Eve a hug, and Lenny, and Ash, and Jaen. Yes, dude. Yes. I love it. The outpouring, man, the people that showed up in the lives to support, again, people like Laura in the background, modding, handling things, planning, Ezra, getting in touch with TikTok and promoting all of those different lives. Hey, Flutterby, good to see you.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about you earlier. I loved it, and I would say that a lot of the reason that I enjoyed it was S.A., the hard work that she put in. That was another common thread, right? Rachael had to put the hard work in to make it happen. S.A. put the hard work in. Like I said, when we got there, the gallery was still setting up, which applies to another gallery that I helped out with last year. And when I arrived at opening day, I actually hung people's art on the wall because that wasn't there yet. So I guess that brings us to the portion of the show where we talk about the more negative experience that we had last year. And our intention is never to hurt anybody. We want everybody to be successful. We want everybody to be able to put out their art and make a living doing it. And but I think the way that we can improve, the way that we can get better, is to have the harder conversations too, to be willing to talk about what didn't go right. So I will do that. I'll give kind of my experience of being on the inside of a gallery that didn't go well. I don't want to damage, like, for example, artists that was their first experience of having their art in a gallery. That's still a wonderful experience. They still made that happen. That's still a valid, really cool thing. And a lot of people rallied to help out and donated time and effort and sent their art and all of that kind of thing. And we want people to continue to do that, to help other places and to help other events. Some of them aren't going to go, all of them aren't going to be a winner. Some of them aren't going to make it. And so my experience with the gallery in Colorado was that I was approached, like I often am. I was approached because we have access to a lot of artists. We talk to a lot of artists. We've interviewed a lot of artists. And the person that approached me, he said, hey, look, I have this idea. I've got the space. If we could fill it with art, I think we could open up a gallery. I'm thinking we're talking about a co-op like the one that I described earlier in the show. He mentioned that he would like to have some training programs and stuff like that for kids, which is what I used to do for a living, and some stuff for seniors and some other stuff. So I said, yeah, I like that idea. It fits with this other concept that I believe in, which is slow money. which is trying to keep money in communities, especially economically depressed communities. And oftentimes opening a business, any kind of business in a small community, is a huge lift. It's a force multiplier. It's a huge lift to a lot of people in the community. So I'm always interested in trying to help out in situations like that, where that's the calculation. And I was also asked to be on a board for the gallery. And a lot of people I'm not sure understand what that means. It's an advisory position. I've been on the board for farmers markets and colleges and Council for Exceptional Children and Big Brothers and Big Sisters and like all different kinds of organizations in my life. None of them are paid positions. They're volunteer positions. They're advisory positions because you have some expertise in a particular area. In my case, it was with community programming. It had nothing necessarily to do with art specifically. It was that my background was in writing programming for community stuff. It's what I used to do for a living. So I came on board with that understanding, and I was asked to be on the advisory board because they wanted my input in how to put the thing together, because I had done something similar before. So, hey, Midwest, thank you. So the other draw is that, hey, the opportunity to potentially put a place together that would be a standing location for artists to sell their artwork. And there was supposed to be an online gallery involved with it. So it would involve a lot more people. There would be a brick and mortar gallery that was a small gallery that you could go to and visit in person. And then there would be an online gallery, which would be more art. You could only have so much in a building, but would be able to have more artists sell their art through the online gallery. So it was one of those situations where it checked all the boxes, right? It'll help the community locally. It falls under the slow money concept. It provides a venue for artists to sell their artwork, and potentially could also act as a way to promote art in a sort of art desert in that part of Colorado. There is a lot of art in that state, and they have a lot of laws relative to their art which are relevant. But that's initially how I got involved with the gallery in Colorado. I was approached because I have programming, writing stuff, and I also, I've helped put together nonprofits. I've helped put together LLCs. Thank you, Ezra. I've helped put together partnerships, and I've sole proprietorship. So I do have some experiences in setting up businesses. So that was also the other thing that I was supposed to be advising on. What happens, though, is, from my perspective, a whole bunch of people put a bunch of hard work into this. We promoted it for months. Which got artists involved. We got in touch with TikTok through Ezra. Ezra helped us set up all the promotional stuff to do all different kinds of lives. Several of us did lives. All of that was boosted by TikTok. And part of that's why we were approached too, is we had the apparatus to promote events like that. And then some of us got on airplanes and flew to Colorado and went there on the opening day to literally promote the event. I went around and interviewed a whole bunch of people. That's what I was there for. I did a bunch of interviews for locals, several hours worth of interviews in the gallery of local artists there. So that's why I was there. That's why I got involved. Now, I was so proud of the community and how the whole community rallied behind that effort, and really, in a lot of ways, and everybody kind of did what they were able to, whatever they had, their part of. And I thought it was absolutely, a beautiful thing. And a bunch of artists participated, so kudos on those artists to try to elevate the community. And art sold. On the day of the event, I saw art sell. My friend's art sold. A lot of the art in that place were friends of mine. And it sold on that day. And that's where the problem started. Some things weren't taken care of. There was never a point of contact set up for how to get art into the gallery. We had board meetings and we discussed the lack of that and how important it was to put that in place. And that never happened. I was doing a live and the owner of that gallery came into my live and solicited an artist who was working on a piece of art in my live. That is not a single point of contact way of doing business. If you have a gallery owner that goes out and individually solicits art from people and it doesn't go through the board, then nobody has a record that that art is there. Nobody has a record of how much that art is worth. And nobody has a record of when that art sells and what the difference is between what the artist asked and what it was actually sold for. So it is very important to have a point of contact, a single point of contact for art going into a gallery. The reason for that is not just to jury the art, but also to have additional eyes on what is there, to protect the artists. Another thing is specifically in Colorado that is supposed to happen that is when someone is selling an artist's artwork, that requires an entirely different bank account for the business that is doing that. It requires an entirely separate, different type of bank account to make those type of transaction. And some simple things. You can look up the building as public information. You can look up a building and find out whether that building is insured or not. If that building is not insured, then your artwork is not insured. And if the building is insured, then that's just the first step. Is it the type of insurance that will cover your art? Is the next question. All of that is public record. The other thing that did not happen, in my opinion, in that situation was the online gallery wasn't built out and with the banking stuff behind it and the and all of the inventory. Still to this day, I still, as a board member, do not have an inventory list for what art was there. I still do not have an inventory pricing list for how much the art sold for. I still do not have a list of what art actually sold. And I was one of the people on the board, and I could not even tell you some of the people that were in the gallery until later when people weren't getting paid. And then they started calling me wanting to know why I didn't pay them. And I'm like, well, because I live in North Carolina. I went and promoted the place, but I don't run the place. I'm not in charge of their banking. And that's another thing about being on a board, being on an advisory board. You don't run the business, you advise, and either they follow your advice or they don't. It's up to them. Broadly put, and I would be happy if there's people out there that would like to have some information regarding their specific situation. I'm always happy. Reach out to me, the Ginn Project official at the mail with a G, and we'll get back in touch with you. I know a bunch of artists did not get paid from that gallery and still have not been paid from that gallery. And I'm not okay with that. Ultimately, no matter what, in my view, it's this simple. We promoted a gallery, we got artists there, and the art sold. All you got to do is write the checks to the artists. Why did that not happen? So, I guess basically that is my experience of why I got involved with it in the first place. what we were hoping to accomplish in the big picture locally for that community of Rocky Ford, and for the artist community on TikTok. Having another venue where artists could sell their art and could promote artistry and teach lessons and that kind of thing would have been a great thing to have. So the option that I have is either 100% of the time, everything that I promote has to work 100%, or I don't promote stuff. I think the reality is sometimes I will end up promoting things that don't work out. And that's unfortunate, but that's part of, in my view, how life works. And that's part of why it's important for artists to do their due diligence as well. If you're gonna, that's part of the reason we're gonna be doing the artist toolbox. If you're gonna be trying to apply to galleries and put your art in galleries, then maybe what we could do is be helpful in making sure that we make sure we're asking the right kinds of questions of these galleries. Hey, Grat. And make sure we're asking the right kind of questions of ourselves to make sure that we do the best that we can to protect everybody involved.
Well, the one thing that I learned from that experience, yeah, I'm not leaving, but yeah, I said, well, one thing I learned about that experience is how quickly the community can rally together for a cause. They were amazing. Like we talked about earlier, heavy lifters. Everybody was pitching in to do stuff for this gallery and to help out. And artwork was sent. Artwork was put up. People flew in. Lives were done. I did a live for the gallery myself. And the other thing is I got to hang with Severed. I got to hang with Live. I got to hang out with a bunch of artists that I love, Eve and Kyra, and tons of people, and Lost. And it was an amazing thing to happen. It's a shame it got soured. I was one of the artists that didn't get paid, so it happens,
Sorry,
and
man. I'm really sorry.
opening. Oh, no, it's not your fault. The thing is, when galleries open, that's the risk. That's the chance you run when there's a first gallery. And, that sort of thing happens all the time. All over the valley, in Phoenix, there's galleries that open and then they close and artists get hurt. So the thing is, communication was not done. That's the one thing that I find frustrating, is that there was no communication. If I was told a little more, if I was explained a little more about what was happening and what was going on, a lot of the problems wouldn't have happened. So when you're dealing with galleries, make sure there's a line of communication. I mean, don't bug the gallery, but at least make sure those galleries have a way of connecting with you. I had a gallery out in Portland where it took me 3 months to get my artwork back. It happens a lot. They didn't want to send the artwork back because it cost money, because even though it was in the contract to ship it, and that kind of thing happens. So communication is key when you're talking about working together with a gallery. But again, like you said, you don't want to sour somebody's first time out, and these things happen, which is terrible, But you took your first step. If you're a first-time artist that did that gallery, you took your first step, and you learned the hard way how galleries run, and that's terrible. I wish it hadn't happened for you, because I've had good experiences and bad experiences, and that was one of the bad experiences.
Me too. I mean, one of the end results will be it's a lot less likely that all of us will jump on board and help out in a situation like that in the future. It'll have to be a lot different situation, and that's a shame, because that's one of the cool things about what we all do. Take care, Jerry. kind of rally to each other, whatever event or whatever we have going on, you know. And the idea that people didn't get paid and then the person just disappeared, and people were asking me, like, you know, where to get paid. But the problem was this, is there were people that we didn't even know who they were, because the owner of the gallery made individual deals with people. So if you ever have a gallery owner that's trying to individually get you to send you their artwork, but won't send it through the board, or won't let anybody else know that transaction is taking place, then a red flag should go up. Because part of the reason for jurying artwork in that situation is so there's extra eyes on it to know what is there. And if I'm in North Carolina and a gallery's in Colorado, me being in a video call with them once a month doesn't help me know what their finances are. It doesn't help me know what kind of condition the building's in or whatever. You know, so there's a lot of is Kyra still in here, y'all? If she's in, I think we were going to hear a little bit from Kyra too. If she's not, no worries. I know that she hasn't been feeling like $1 million. So if she is here, please send Kyra up. So I soured on it too, man, but it's because the most disappointing part about it for me is three things. One, artists not getting paid, obviously. Two, the community rallying so much energy and so much effort and time all behind the cause, and then the person in charge of that thing just disappears. Now, I know that some rationales are being floated for that, but the reality is you don't get to sell people's art and then not pay the artists. There is no circumstance that excuses that. There is no sickness. There is no got tired or was overwhelmed or whatever. There is no excuse after the fact for people whose art sold on a day that I was standing there in the gallery, and months and months and months and months later, they still haven't gotten paid. So there is no excuse for that. So we're going to transition over. Those were my words. Those were not the words of Ashman or Kyra. But Kyra is another artist that we owe a lot of thanks to here, because thank you, Kyra, for all of the information you share with me, because I'm so not knowledgeable about these subjects, and you are very knowledgeable, and Ash is very knowledgeable. So I've learned a great deal just from conversations with you. I'm so grateful for that. I wish the artist community understood better how all of this works. And I think that you are a person that is very much able to do that. You and Ash are so experienced with dealing with all different kinds of galleries. And I owe you an apology too. You know, you too are owed money, and I am sorry publicly. I'm sorry. Anybody that was not made whole, I feel terrible. I think that is absolutely awful.
All right.
But that is also why we have these conversations, so that we can figure out what we need to do to move forward and how to do better next time. So Kyra is here to, I think, in some ways, teach me how to do better next time.
Well, the first thing we need to make absolutely clear is that you're not financially responsible for anything that happened with that gallery. The entire situation, you shouldn't be offering apologies, because this isn't your fault. And period. There's no circumstance here where it is your fault. And let me make this clear. Jenna Wright owes me more money than anybody else, from my understanding. It owes me just shy of $1,500. So from my understanding, I'm the person who's been most financially impacted with that. Ginn has no responsibility in that. Chad doesn't have, nobody who did any of the promotion has any responsibility in that, excuse me, except for the gallery itself. And, you know, and this is one of those situations where this is a very bad example of how bad things can go. It's probably one of the worst. And in this kind of situation, because you're in art and everything, you're going to come up against this. It doesn't matter if you're just doing art sales yourself and you do like art fairs and stuff, or you're going to do gallery stuff. You're going to come up against the situation where bad actors happen, or just things go wrong and it's nobody's fault. In this particular instance, there's a lot of fault. In other instances, there aren't. And so you have to learn how to handle yourself professionally regardless, and what your responsibilities are in those particular situations. So, for example, in this situation, there's a line of actions that you have to take. The first is to make contact with the gallery, have communication, what sold. You need to be aware. You need to understand what you sent. So let me back all the way up. When you are involved with a gallery, and I saw some questions, how do I know if it's a good gallery or not? You don't, but there are certain things you can check out. Should all galleries have boards? No. There's a lot of galleries that don't have any boards. But the galleries that do, you should know about the board. You should know about their process. You should know what their method is of judging art and everything. You should know what's going on, at least a vague idea. And then you should have a point of contact. You should have a contract. It can't just be a nice handshake over the internet. You need a contract. You need to understand what are your terms. A lot of galleries take certain percentages. You need to know what that is. It should not catch you off guard. You need to know whether or not you're paying for shipping back to you. A lot of galleries don't cover shipping back anymore. That used to be standard practice. You pay to ship it out. It doesn't sell. They pay to ship it back. That used to be standard. Now it's pretty rare. There's just different things like that. And within that, you need to know who you need to contact. And you need to understand if you're selling in your state or in a different state, you should understand what the laws are that are applicable to art sales in Colorado in particular. And this is actually kind of common in different states, so you can check yours out. But if an art sale happens, the gallery owner cannot say they sell your art for $1,000. They can't use that money to go pay their rent or something. They can use their part. So say they get 50%, they can take $500 and pay their rent, but that other $500 can't go anywhere. It's got to sit in trust until it's given to the artist. And so you should know what the laws are in regards to the art in the state that you're selling. And with that...
Could you please repeat just that part to make sure it is crystal clear? Just the part about specific to like the last few sentences you said. I'm sorry, just to make sure we put a fine point.
Just in most cases, if you sell, let's just take it down to $100. You sell $100 worth of your art, and the gallery is taking 50%. That means $50 of it is yours. In their bank account, they've taken $100 plus sales tax, right? And they have to set the sales tax aside. They have to set your $50 aside, and the $50 that's theirs, they can go do something with. But that money that they took in for sales tax and for you can't go anywhere. That has to stay in trust with them until they give it to you. And a lot of states have time limits on when they can get it to you. That's often included in your contract. You're going to be paid within 30, 60, 90 days. It depends what you're doing. This does not apply to wholesale contracts. That's a whole separate thing. I won't go into that in this particular instance.
That may be another show.
That is, yeah. But it's something that you need to understand who you're doing business with and how that works. And then when a sale happens, that you're going to be notified within a certain amount of time. You need to know what the process is for how you're going to get your money. We're going to pay you via check. We're going to, pay you via PayPal, whatever. And you need to also be aware that a lot of galleries, this is potentially a red flag depending on your state and everything. If they don't get your tax information, that's a little odd, because if they're taking in money for you, they usually have to report that. So it's usually a sign, if they're doing business above board, that they need tax information to file. So your W-4, I think it is, but don't quote me on that one. But so with all of this, you have to understand your line of communication so that you can expect certain things to happen. In this particular instance, I know a lot of my art and prints and things sold, and there was communication. It just was misleading communication, unfortunately. And eventually things went to ground, as you said. And so my next recourse was trying to get a hold of the person, couldn't get a hold of the person. I sent emails, and then it was like, clearly things weren't working out. Okay, I'm sending a formal email, a polite business email that's, hey, I'm requesting 1, payment in full, 2, the return of my materials that haven't sold, and within a timely manner. That was sent to their email, no response. It was sent to other methods of communication, contact points, no response. That then turned into a formal demand letter. And so that's something where you write it up, you make a copy, you're going to scan it, send it in the email, but you're also going to send it certified letter. You send that out. That was refused. That came back to me. And so my last recourse, I'm left with 2 things. And this is unfortunately something you have to deal with. And that is, you can file a formal complaint with the state, with the Attorney General. And you need to know which county and everything you're filing in. And then there's also, you can go to small claims court if it's worth it or not to you. In this particular instance, my belief was that there was no money. My belief was that the money was gone, and therefore me spending more money to file in small claims court was pointless. It was going to cost me money, time, make me grumpy. But as a responsible artist in the community, and this is important. This isn't just me being mad and filing a complaint, right? So I filed a formal complaint with the Attorney General because we as artists need to also look out for each other. And part of that is being accountable for our own actions and holding other people accountable for theirs. And it was important to hold this gallery owner accountable because this wasn't okay. This is fraud. There's mismanagement of funds that we think happened, and that needed to be reported. And so it was. It's free. It doesn't take very long. It's a government website. You can do it online. You just want to have all your documents, like your formal demand letter and everything. So you can just submit everything, and you basically write out an affidavit of what it is, and you sign it. You're swearing that this is true to your best extent, and you file it. And they can't get money back for you, but if there's a violation of the law and they feel that it's worth pursuing, they'll go after it. If not, it's at least on record. And anybody can do that if they're owed $25 or $10,000. And so if you've been wronged in a certain way and you've taken all the professional avenues for having that conversation and it's just yielded nothing, that is another option that is open to you. Do you have to do it? No. Is it a responsible thing to do if you think that somebody might act in this way again? Yes. And the other side of it is this, us artists communicate. And that's extremely important to let people know, hey, that gallery didn't do well. I worked with a gallery in LA that seemed great. And then had some sort of financial trouble or whatever, closed its doors. Nobody could get their art back. It was a mess for like 6 to 9 months. Couldn't get anybody in there. It's very hard to coordinate art return from another state. And we were lucky, at least I was lucky with the one in Colorado, because we had somebody on the inside who could get our art back to us at our own cost, and that's fine, but at least we got some back. The thing with the one in LA is that I didn't really have any recourse. I didn't even know what was going on inside it. And so they closed their doors, eventually got some work back. They popped back up a couple hours later, or not hours, years. It's late. Years later, same management, same name, reopened again. And it was very important that the art community had been talking and saying, whoa, this gallery didn't pay all these people. They kept their art, which is theft at a certain point. And, there's some problems. And so it is very important that us artists communicate good experiences and bad experiences. And, when a gallery acts unprofessionally, artists need to talk to each other. And when an artist acts unprofessionally, you should know that galleries are going to talk to each other. And artists are going to talk to galleries too. So this is about moving with grace and professionalism, because if you're going to be showing your art, you need to comport yourself appropriately. You need to act and behave appropriately. I could come on here and yell and rant and everything, but that's not appropriate. And it's not going to change anything. And so this is about how to deal with the downside of things and how that mechanism works within the community for everybody else too. Artists talk to each other, about what happened, but don't go crazy with it. Just let each other know. If this gallery pops up again, you might not want to work with it. It's not really a safe bet. Same turn, if this gallery was really good to me, it would be worth working with, that kind of thing. And if you do your due diligence, people were asking, how do you know if a gallery is bad? You don't. But if you hear chatter, listen. You get a couple sour grapes every now and then. That just happens naturally in human experience. But if people are saying the same thing over and over again, or you're hearing it from multiple points, there's probably a reason behind it, and you should probably pay attention. And also at the very end of things, if you get a feeling and you're like, everything sounds great, but boy, there's just something bugging me, don't do it. Don't do it. There will always be another opportunity. And that's another part of moving professionally. If you're just getting a vibe, listen to yourself and protect yourself, because we're all independent businesses. As artists, creators of any sort, we're operating. It doesn't matter if we're working with somebody or commissions or stuff like that. We're still working independently, and we're the ones who have to look out for ourselves. So we are our number one best resource. But
all of that. Rewind the tape, play it again, listen up. The communication is key here, because one of the things that gets taken advantage of in situations like this, and I'm old enough to have seen more than one thing go sideways. If it's smaller, like you're owed a lot of money, Kyra, and Ash is owed considerable. But a lot of people are owed $30, $50, $100, $80, and it is less than the amount oftentimes that it would even cost to file for small claims court, much less the energy and time and whatever. So sometimes people take advantage of that. If you spread out $20, $50, whatever, here and there all throughout, then people don't follow up on it. And if I understood correctly, I just want to make sure I understand here, Kyra. If I understood what you were saying correctly, you can still file and let them know, hey, whatever amount of money it was, I feel like that I was taken advantage of here. And you do that in Colorado, for example, would be with the Attorney General. They don't get your money back for you, but one of the repercussions could be if that person goes and tries to set up an LLC to do the same thing again, there would be multiple reports that, hey, something went wrong. Is that how that would work?
So, yeah. So what it does is it's going to go on file that there is a complaint against this particular business and this particular business owner. It is important that anything that you put in there, you do it without emotion, right? So if you're all hot under the collar, it's not the right time to write out what happened.
To the Attorney General.
Don't lie and don't embellish.
Don't
you
make
just
up
need
shit.
it's just the facts. It's just the facts. And it's just the facts as they pertain to you. Like if somebody else filed and said, well, I know that her stuff, you can't do that. You have to file on behalf of yourself. Don't include anybody else's story in it. Just include what you know factually, what you have access to factually. And you can't follow up on it. You'll have a case number, but you're not going to be able to get an update. Like, have they done anything about it? It's not your business at that point. So I've done my part. I've filed my complaint, and then I have to let that go and hope that they either follow up or don't, or put a mark out that if he pops up again and this happens again, that they'll be like, hey, maybe this isn't the right business for you. And that will hopefully protect other artists in the future from something like this happening. So, and I don't, even with all the bad things, I don't wish him ill will. I just want the artist community to have, what happened was not okay. It should not happen again. And that's the whole point in filing.
But yes. Like Jeff was saying in the chat, Jeff, have a good night, buddy. Jeff was saying in the chat, he still doesn't have a piece of art back. Yeah, I mean, and there's no way of knowing who all is owed what, because there was never a master list made, and maybe that was for a reason, right? I got to ask myself. But
I can't speculate on that. So
yeah. I mean, I'm saying I got as a board member, as someone who kept asking for that information. In hindsight, gee, I wonder why we don't want to put together a list of who's artist here. So hopefully, what we can do is learn from it, make sure that we put the pieces in place so that we're able to make as informed decisions as possible. make sure that we communicate and to the best of our ability. That does not, folks, that does not mean throwing people under the bus. That don't mean just telling people's business. But there is a way to communicate professionally, to let folks know, hey, this is what we were involved in, and this is kind of how things went down, and leave it at that and move on. But this Artist Toolbox, this first edition, we're going to do more of these, and there will be topics like how to turn bad situations into a positive. We could do a whole show about that on this one particular issue, or situational awareness. It's very, very relevant in this situation. Critical thinking skills development, all kinds of different stuff related to art. So this was just the first installment. Galleries comes up a lot. We have friends that get in galleries. Ash and Kyra are veterans in the gallery game. They have forgotten more than I will ever know. Ash, this is the part where you and Kyra just say smart stuff about galleries and I'll be quiet. Thank you to everyone who has been coming in here and throwing the hands up and saying hi and stopping through. Hey, Jonesy, we appreciate everybody coming in. Thank you for hanging out with us for this whole time. I think we went into depth. I think we brought people up to talk about their experiences. We talked about our own experiences. Hopefully this will add to the collective knowledge of the art community. And any questions or concerns, reach out to the Ginn Project official at that mail that has a G in front of it, and just put in the little message if it's regarding this, we'll do what we can, share whatever I'm able to help you with. So the Ginn Project official at that, or you can do HR.the Ginn Project official, and that goes directly to Laura. So we hope you might consider doing that. Let us know, if nothing else, so that we can advocate for you should the opportunity arise. Kyra, do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I think since you have a bunch of people here who had art in the gallery, I want to say that it's really amazing that for the people who were first-time gallery showers, that you guys took the risk and you made the effort and you got the art there, and it was part of a big event, and they did, a lot of promotional small television stuff and things like that. And even though things went wrong, it goes on your CV. So you're a galleried artist. It goes on your CV, and you should be proud of yourselves. So even if a gallery just goes down in flames, you didn't. You did something amazing, and you're awesome for being a part of it, even if it just didn't work out. So, and a lot of art is not, art isn't about perfection. A lot of art is about making mistakes, and this is just another one. So
Yes.
Don't let it throw you off. Just let it refine how you look for places to show your art, if that's your path. That's all I have to say.
What you got, Ash? Thank you, Kyra.
Be persistent. Keep going.
Ooh.
Just never mind what happened. Just keep moving. Your artwork is going to be your artwork, and you're going to keep improving. So I would say just keep going. There's other galleries. There's other things. And if you're just starting out, remember that. This is just you starting out. You're going to head to bigger and better things as long as you're persistent.
I like it. 100%. A positive note, y'all. Yes. Keep working together. Keep helping each other out. Don't let the bad times prevent you from going for the long-term goal. There's going to be bumps in the road. The fact that everybody looks out for each other. I mean, the quality of people on this platform helping each other out and working to make each other's craft better. is amazing, and I am so excited. I'm here for it. I can't believe I have to pinch myself every day that I get to work with such amazing people, such kind, thoughtful, intelligent people that are literally trying to make their little part of the world a little bit better, and at the same time, the broader world a little bit better. And the artist community has the capacity to do that. So please don't give up on that. And the idea of artists who are donating their art and donating their ideas and their concepts and their time, all of that is super valuable. All of it. The idea is do what you are able, do what you can, do whatever you're comfortable with doing. So if you would like to get involved, same address, the Ginn Project Official at the Mail with the G, and help Kyra and Ashman not to have to carry me so much. Thank y'all. Casserole, good to see you, buddy. Thank y'all so much. We are working on some new music to play you out. We got some new stuff coming for you. Tonight, we're just going to thank everyone. We really appreciate y'all coming in. We're so grateful for each and every one of you in this community that stopped through for just a minute or that hang out the whole time. And please keep looking out for each other. Don't let the negative stuff make you not want to look out for your fellow human beings, because even the ones that we might not be happy with, we want them to be okay as well. And hopefully they can find a better place for themselves if they keep working at it. So thank you, Kyra. It is always an honor to have you on here, and I'm so lucky to be able to call you my friend. Ash, man, I'm so lucky to get to ride with you, man. It's crazy. I just can't believe I get to do it. So thank you, man. I appreciate you. I wish I was able to better articulate how important you two are and how much y'all do outside of yourselves. And I know that you don't like me to praise you, Kyra or Ash, man, but you really do. At least to me, anyway. So thank you very much. Thank you much, Ash. We'll give Ash the final thoughts, and then I'm just going to drop the call, man. That's how we're going to do it tonight. Much love to everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. We do love you. We are working very, very hard to try to bring you a good product and to try to help all of y'all have a better product.
I'd just say rock on. Just keep going, guys. Just keep going. Keep on trucking.